Hey everybody, we're talking about the government shutdown. This is the fifth day that we entered. Everything at shares for educational freeze purposes only, just for us to discuss. Okay, hopefully.
Hooyah, Navy! Hooyah, Navy! Hooyah, Navy! It is an honor to be with you to celebrate the 250th year since the United States Navy was officially established. Generations of sailors have kept America free because of their presence on the high seas. Your strength, bravery, and sacrifice inspires us all. The President and I just attended an extraordinary demonstration, an inspiring display of skills that reflects the very best of our Navy. For me, it brought back fond memories of my visit to the USS George H.W. Bush in 2018. I will always remember the pride and professionalism of the sailors I met on that vessel. I witnessed the enduring spirit of America's Navy, which propels every mission and lives on to every sailor who serves. Now, it is my privilege to introduce someone who holds our military close to his heart, not only as the commander-in-chief, but as a proud American who believes deeply in the men and women who wear the uniform. Please join me in welcoming my husband, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
As we're entering, well, we have entered our fifth day in this government shutdown. Just so you guys know, I was also in the military. I love the Navy. I was in the Navy, and yeah, this is really dear to my heart. Here we go, Stu.
To the hills of Tennessee, across the... God bless the United States Navy.
Hi, John. I see you. Oh, Christopher, you don't like moving like Trump? Okay.
Well, that was good timing, wasn't it? We had to get that right. We had to get that right. But they always get it right. I was just given a display with a wonderful First Lady, the likes of which I think few people have ever seen before. We were a few minutes away, and the display of strength was absolutely incredible. We appreciate it. Thank you, Navy. Thank you very much. And I want to thank our magnificent First Lady for that introduction. People love our First Lady. And let me say to all of the incredible sailors on this pier, it's great to be with the fleet. The fleet.
They look so happy.
And let's also give a very special thanks to the shipmates who put on that spectacular display of Navy dominance. And that's what it was. It was dominance. And Bravo Zulu. You know what that is? Bravo Zulu. You know, a lot of people don't. And it's a true honor to be here with the thousands of our nation's finest sailors at the largest naval facility in the entire world. It's the largest, and I would say more importantly, it's the best, okay? It's both the Norfolk Naval Base. Thank you very much. The largest, and it's the best. We're gathered on this storied waterfront to celebrate 250 years of strength, tenacity, and unwavering courage by the greatest fighting force even. And that's true. No matter where you go, no matter where you go, no matter what you even think about, there's nothing like the fighting force that we have. Roam the seas. It's called the United States Navy, and there's nothing in the world like it. Nothing, not even close. You read stories, they don't have it. Let me tell you, we check it closely. We check it closely. Docked beside us today are a combined 150,000 tons of pure American naval supremacy and two colossal reasons why no one should ever want to start a fight with the USA. They won't fight. We're putting out a lot of fights, so do you see that? We're going to be close to number 8. Number 8. We don't want to send you into battle unless it's necessary, right? We're putting out a lot of fires. Maybe some of you will be angry. You'll say, what's he doing? We want to fight. You know what? If we can solve them the way I'm solving them, we solve 7. We have another one that's taken 3,000 years, and we're pretty close, but I don't want to talk about it until it's done. But let's give a big round of applause to the men and women of the majestic USS Kearsarge.
Yeah.
I like your life better than mine, I have to be honest with you. Sailing on those beautiful waters all the time, you're so lucky.
That was nice.
Because the American sailor never quits, never fails, and never, ever lets us down. They've never let us down. Thank you. Thank you.
Dora. Okay.
And we're honored to be joined today by service members representing every part of this great naval tradition. Our incredible surface warriors are the reason America's enemies tremble at the sight of a Navy ship haze gray or underway. The instant U.S. carrier, cruiser, or destroyer breaks across the horizon, every tyrant and adversary on the planet knows their choice is very simple. It's leave America in peace or be blown up in fire and fury never seen before. All over the world, people know of the skill, nerve, swagger, and sheer attitude of the boldest and most daring pilots on the sea, the U.S. naval aviators, and I just got to witness it with Melania. They land screaming jets on pitching decks in the dark of night with no room for error. There's no room for error. The greatest pilots in the world. And while Navy pilots rain down pain from above, the greatest adversaries fear the daring deeds of our silent service below. They prowl and strike from crushing depths, unseen, undetected, and unstoppable. They are our brave submariners. Where are the submariners? And the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get through the accolades. I want to get to like more of the heart of the speech.
And along with your great officers here at Norfolk Naval Base, Vice Admirals John Gumbleton. John, thank you. Thank you, John. Great. Young guy. And at a press conference, they asked him, who's in the best shape? Who's the healthiest? Who's the strongest? Who's the best physical specimen of the three? He said, that's easy. President Donald Trump. And I said, I love this guy.
He has a sense of humor. That's undeniable.
I said, I love him. Ronnie Jackson, he's now a congressman, as you know. So he was an admiral. He was a chief doctor. He was the whole boss of doctors. And Now he's a very, very successful congressman from Texas. Thank you, Ronnie, very much, and I appreciate those words. I'll never forget them. Jen Kagans. Jen, thank you.
I want to get through this part.
I
Hold on.
ran it again, and I got 250, and I got the World Cup, and I got the Olympics. Can you believe all of it? In my first term, I was the one that got the Olympics. I was the one that got the World Cup. And I said, you know, the sad part is, maybe I'll go, maybe I won't even be invited because it won't be during my term. I would say if we're a Democrat, I might not be invited. They don't love me exactly too much. And then when this happened, now all of a sudden they got all three. But you know what's the most important? 250 years is the most important, above World Cup, above Olympic. But we got them all coming. And then June 14th, next year we're going to have a big UFC fight at the White House, right at the White House, on the grounds of the White House. When the Continental Congress formed a fleet of just 2 ships in October 1775, many scoffed at their chances against the most powerful empire on earth. That was the most powerful ever, relatively speaking. We had 2 ships. We had nothing other, but we had great heart. They didn't know the audacity and the grit of the American sailor. They had no idea the war for independence gave us some of the greatest American heroes of all time, including the father of the U.S. Navy, Captain.
I see your comments. I don't know if y'all saw this already, but this is my first time second time watching it. So I'll respond to your comments later.
John Paul Jones, you know that. When a far stronger British
Hi,
ship
Kelly.
demanded his surrender, Jones yelled back that timeless battle cry right now, I have not yet begun to fight. Don't ask me for that. Think of that. I could just see it. He's a wise guy. He's asking, I haven't even begun to fight. And he knocked the hell out of him. In the War of 1812, Captain James Lawrence shouted his final words to his crew as blood streamed down from his mortal wounds. Fight her till she sinks, he yelled. Don't give up the ship. Don't give up the ship. These are all incredible, very, very famous statements now with years and time. Very Naval Academy. And I'm going to be at your Army-Navy game this year. Who am I going to root for, huh? You may be surprised. It's going to be great. We're going to be here. Generations of the Commodore's descendants have forged their own towering legacies of service in the Navy, and we're joined today by his 5th great-grandson, Commander Link Mustin. Where is Mustin? Commander Mustin, where are you? He's here. Wow, look at this handsome guy. That's good genetics, right? He's got good genes. Thank you very much. Commander, thank you for continuing a family tradition that has endured for 2.5 centuries. Can you believe that, huh?
Sorry, I am skipping through it. I
The
am.
people here right now. In every era of conflict, the Navy has never failed to hunt, kill, and to win. Never failed. Never failed. In World War II, Admiral Bull Halsey's motto, hit hard, hit fast, hit often. And that is exactly what the sailors do. One of those warriors was Submarine Commander Eugene Fluke, who sent more Japanese tonnage to the ocean floor than any other man in history. I don't like to talk about it too much now. You know, they've been a nice ally, but anybody from Japan here right now? We'll get off the subject immediately. But think of it. Sent more tonnage to the bottom of the sea, one after one. Aboard the famed USS Barr, he destroyed a Japanese tanker and a carrier with a single salvo to his men's chagrin. They were very concerned about it. They didn't think we could do that, and he just knocked them out one after another. And again, torpedoes were flying, but his greatest feat came when he spotted 30 enemy ships at port off the coast of China. You know that, the very famous story. Commander Fluke ordered his men to their battle station, slipped into the harbor, and sank 6 vessels at one time before taking off into the beautiful, wild blue ocean. He received 4 Navy Crosses, the Legion of Merit, and the Congressional Medal of Honor. That was a brave guy. in recognition of the incredible achievements of the USS Barb under his command, this December we will lay the keel of a brand new Virginia-class submarine bearing that same legendary name, and his grandson, Tom, will be there to pick it up. Tom is with us today, and I want to runs to Omaha Beach. You all know about it. Hired
I gotta
as a
skip
chief
through it,
petty
y'all.
officer in 1966. This year, Felix celebrated his 100th birthday, and he is here this afternoon as a living testament to the glory of the United States Navy. Wow. That's great. He looks good. Felix, you look better than I do. I'm not happy about this, Felix. No, they don't want to mess around with him. And Felix, we salute you. Thank you very much. Incredible. 100 years. In Korea, American sailors and Marines carried out the daring landing in Incheon and flew more than 250,000 combat sorties against the enemy. It was an amazing effort. In Vietnam, the Navy unleashed Operation Rolling Thunder and deployed a brand new unit, the Navy SEALs, to tear up Mekong River Delta. Problem with Vietnam, we stopped fighting to win. We would have won easy. We would have won Afghanistan easy. Would have won every war easy. But we got politically correct. Let's take it easy. We're not politically correct anymore, just so you understand. We win. Now we win. We don't want to be politically correct anymore. And history will never forget that it was the SEALs who stormed the compound at Osama bin Laden and put a bullet in his head. Remember that? And please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden exactly 1 year ago, 1 year before he blew up the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to watch Osama bin Laden. And the fake news would never let me get away with that statement unless it was true. But I said 1 year before to Pete Hegseth, I said 1 year before, where's Pete? In the book, I wrote, whatever the hell the title, I can't tell you. But I can tell you there's a page in there devoted to the fact that I saw somebody named Osama bin Laden, and I didn't like it, and you got to take care of him. They didn't do it. A year later, he blew up the World Trade Center, so got to take a little credit because nobody else is going to give it to me. You know the old story? They don't give you credit, just take it yourself. And it was the U.S. Navy that dumped his...
He does have a point. No one really gives him credit for that. And people just kind of brush it under the rug. But that was a really big deal.
wretched corpse off the decks of the Carl Vinson to sink into the dark abyss. The Navy's central role in the defense of our liberty continues to this day. Just a few months ago, the Ohio-class guided missile submarine played an indispensable part in one of the most spectacular military feats the world has ever seen, the obliteration of Iran's nuclear sites in Operation Midnight Hammer. How did that work out? Pretty good, right? And we shot 30 Tomahawks, you know that. On top of, after the B-2, how about that? The B-2s, what they did, those beautiful flying wings, what they did, they hit every single target they hit. And just in case, we shot 30 Tomahawks out of a submarine, every one of them hit too. So I would say Iran was not particularly thrilled. They were going to have a nuclear weapon within a month. And now they can start the operation all over again, but I hope they don't, because we'll have to take care of that too if they do. I let them know that you want to do that, it's fine, but we're going to take care of that, and we're not going to wait so long. It should have been done long before I came along. You know that I had the pilots of the B-2s in my office, the famous Oval Office. I had them in the B-2s. They came in to the White House, and we talked about it. They said, you know, sir, for 22 years, our predecessors and us trained for that hit. For 22 years, they were training to take out the nuclear potential of Iran. He said, but it was only when you came along that we did it. And they were so happy that they did it. But they've been training for that hit for 22 years, but no president wanted to do it. they would have had a nuclear weapon within a month, probably within a month or shortly thereafter. And speaking to them would have been much more difficult. In recent weeks, the Navy has supported our mission to blow the cartel terrorists the hell out of the water. You see that? And you know, there are no boats in the water anymore. You can't find any. We're having a hard time finding them. But you know, it's a pretty tough thing we've been doing, but you have to think of it this way. Every one of those boats is responsible for the death of 25,000 American people and the destruction of families. So when you think of it that way, what we're doing is actually an act of kindness. But we did another one last night. Now we just can't find any. You know, it's the old story. We're so good at it that there are no boats. In fact, even fishing boats, nobody wants to go into the water anymore. Sorry to tell you that. But it's we're stopping drugs coming into America, if that's okay. We're stopping drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Last year, we lost.
A shout out to all the servicemen and everybody that served for our great country. Thank you for your service.
I believe 300,000 people. And that's not talking about the destruction to families. Every one of us knows families that have been destroyed because the son, daughter, even mothers and fathers are destroyed by the fentanyl pouring in and drugs pouring in. Well, they're not coming in by sea anymore, so now we'll have to start looking about the land because they'll be forced to go by land. And let me tell you right now, that's not going to work out well for them either. And it was the Truman Carrier strike group that unleashed American fury on the Houthi terrorists in the Red Sea. And as you know, they settled. But they settled because they made the statement to us, we've never been hit like that ever before. And earlier this year, conducted the single largest airstrike from an American carrier in history. That was the largest ever. I want to express my personal thanks to every single sailor who contributed to these phenomenal victories. We only know victory. We're only going to know victory. We don't want to know the other word. We want to know victory. We're going to have great victories in the years to come. Well, at least for almost 3.5 years, we're going to have great victories. I want to thank a group of women from North Carolina. Look at these great. Will you stand up, please? These beautiful women have followed me. This is number 151. You could call a rally. This is sort of a rally. Let's face it. This is a rally. This is a speech of love. We all love our country. But that group is from North Carolina.
I do love the fact that he acknowledges people that follow him. I got to see him because he was in Coachella, where I'm from, when he did the rally. And they did try to take his life at the rally, although he doesn't. People like to say that his life wasn't threatened. But in Coachella, when he did the rally here, it was amazing. But we did have that attack on him.
They're up to about 151 visits. They have a whole group of them. I never see their husbands. I don't know what's going on with their husbands. I assume, do they still love you, the husbands? Yes, good. But I want to thank you. 151, they've been following me since 2016, and you look even better now than you did then. But I want to thank you very much. It's a really group. They love our country. They like Trump, but you know what they really do? They love our country. And we have the right policy, right? We have policy. We don't want crime. We don't want men playing in women's sports. We don't want transgender for everybody. We don't want to have open borders where millions of people come into our country from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions and insane asylums, drug dealers, murderers. 11,788 murderers were allowed to come into our country. A lot of them are gone.
Whether majority of America wants to admit it or not, this is why Donald Trump won the popular vote and the electoral vote, okay? Because this is what the majority wants.
And by the way, Washington, D.C. is a safe place right now. It went from one of the most dangerous cities in our country, can you believe that? To probably the safest, among the safest in our country. Nobody's being hit anymore. It's very safe, and I want to thank you. A lot of the people here have helped. A lot of the people in the audience are people that have straightened them out. It took 12 days. Think of that. Now we're in Memphis. We're doing the same thing in Memphis. And we're going to Chicago. You know, we have a governor that thinks it's wonderful when 50 people in a short period of time were murdered in Chicago. Over 200 people were hit. And so we send in the National Guard. You know what? We send in what's ever necessary. People don't care. They don't want crime in their cities. And we're doing it, and we're doing it well. We're doing it like nobody's ever done it before. So I just want to tell you, you're very close to D.C. The restaurants are thriving. The restaurants are dying. They were closing one after another. Now they're thriving. They're opening up beautiful new restaurants. Washington, D.C. is safe. And I even went there and had dinner the other night. And I stood right smack in the middle of the street. Secret Service was thrilled. And I gave a news conference. It's a safe place now. Washington, D.C., it's always going to be. Our nation's capital is always going to be safe. We're never going to let that happen again. What happened there? One of the most beautiful places. We're doing a big beautification program. It'll take me very little, very short, but we're doing a beautification program to go along with the security and safety. We're getting rid of the graffiti, the potholes, the broken medians between roads. We're doing a real job, and you'd be proud of it. I think everybody here is proud of it, frankly. That's our nation's capital, and that has to be clean, beautiful, and safe. The U.S. Navy always stands for America. As your commander-in-chief, I will always stand for you. I promise you that. You know that. That's why you voted for me in numbers that nobody's ever seen before. And I want you to know that despite the current Democrat-induced shutdown, we will get our service members every last penny. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. It's all coming. It's coming. And even more because I'm supporting the across-the-board pay raises for every sailor and service member in the United States Armed Forces. But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens and pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they.
I was going to add this, but that is what this shutdown is about. Nothing else. They're trying to deny it. They're trying to say that it's about something else. It's just about funding. Well, that's not the only thing. But the main thing is funding illegal immigration and giving immigrants and giving them health care when a lot of Americans, millions of Americans, don't have health care.
But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it. But I've also pledged the largest ever investment in our military's history. We're spending over $1 trillion. We've never had anything like that before. $1 trillion on our military, and that includes, along with your Secretary of the Navy and Pete Hegseth, we're going to be building lots of ships and doing a lot of things that you haven't seen happen for 35 years. We'll soon revitalize our once great shipyards with hundreds of billions of dollars in new investments and people coming from all around the world, and they're going to build ships in America. We want them built in America. And as I told our generals and admirals last Tuesday, we are getting wokeness the hell out of our military. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's really gone. I don't know that it was ever really here. I think some of the top people had it. I knew a few of them that they were major losers. But they were losers. Unlike our great general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who may be here, Dan Raisin Cain. You know Raisin Cain? When I heard his name, I said, that's the guy I'm looking for. But he's been an amazing warrior, and you know he was the one headed up the attack on Iran, and everything he's touched has turned out great. He knocked out ISIS. So I was told it would take 4 to 5 years to beat ISIS. When he came on board, he did it in 4 weeks. We knocked him out in 4 weeks. 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Is Dan Cain here? He is, you know why? Because he's working. That's the one thing. We don't have to worry about him. But he is a fantastic man. It's the man I wanted right from the beginning. I said, if I ever do this again and if I can get lucky enough to win, because we have a base like nobody in history has had, I said, I'm going to pick Raisin Cain as the chairman. And that's what we did, and he's been incredible. We will not be politically correct when it comes to defending American freedom. That's why we have renamed the Department of Defense and Department of War, as I said, and we have changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. That was it. That was an easy one. You know, for years I've looked at it and I added it up and I figured we have 92% of the frontage. I say, how come we call it the Gulf of Mexico? I mean, I wouldn't say that Mexico is thrilled with me, but what are you going to do? It's the Gulf of America. And I love it now. I was watching the other night a report and they said very routinely, in the Gulf of America, this is, they just went on to talk about it. They didn't do it with a smirk or a smile. They didn't say, in the Gulf of America. No, it's called the Gulf of America now, and nobody's playing games with it. We got sued by the Associated Press, and they lost. In fact, the judge was so good, he said, he's calling it the Gulf of America. He's got all the approvals. You have to do that, too, to the very liberal Associated Press. They got thrown out of court. In fact, they're almost not allowed to cover me anymore because of that. It was a big hit. So I'm very proud of that. Under our leadership, the spirit of the American forces is soaring like it has never soared before. I think right now we have more spirit than we've ever had before. After years of recruiting shortages, we couldn't get guys or gals to become sailors. 1 year ago, they didn't want to be a sailor. Although I must say, once I said we're going to run, a lot of people made it better. But let's go back 2 years, and it was even worse. Because there was no hope. We had this horrible, horrible president who had no clue what the hell was happening. The chances of him walking down those stairs successfully were not good. And I have to be careful because one day I'm going to probably fall. No,
to be fair, I'm not gonna make fun of anybody's health because we're all gonna get older someday. But talking about Biden's cognitive decline, obviously he wasn't fit to run another term. Okay.
The North Carolina women said that will never happen to you. I always say, walk down the steps nice and slow. You ever notice I do nice? I don't have to bop down the stairs. Walk nice and slowly. But we have a waiting list. Think of this. We have a waiting list for people wanting to get into the United States Navy, the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, Space Force. Oh, we love Space Force. But think of it. We have a waiting list for every branch of government now. And that includes police and firemen. Nobody wanted to be a policeman. Now they want to be a policeman. Now they want to be in the Navy. They want to be in the Air Force so badly. The Marines, the Army, they want to be in all of it. They love Space Force. I love Space Force because I created Space Force. That was my thing. And it's going to turn out to be one of the most important. But 1 year ago, our country was dead. We had a dead country. People say, sir, you shouldn't say that. It's too straight to withdraw. We had a dead country, and today we have the hottest country anywhere in the world by far. 1 year, think of it. 1 year ago, we were dead. The king of Saudi Arabia said to me, President, 1 year ago, we thought we lost America. We thought it was a dead country. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. He said that. I use this term. And I'm pleased to say that 2025 was the Navy's single best recruiting year ever. Not bad. So you went from those embarrassing headlines of a year ago. Think of it. Nobody wants to go into the Navy. How does that make you feel? Now you have a different problem. You know what the problem is? Everybody wants your job. I like that better, right? No, but nobody's going to take your job. You were with us when it was not as nice. It wasn't as nice. Those are the people I like the best, too. The people that were with me when it wasn't looking so good, like these ladies from North Carolina, they were with me when it wasn't looking that good. A lot of fake scandals were created, all fake. One of those
people like to talk about his charges, but he's talking about the fake charges and the scandals and all these things that happened during the election and before the election to try to interfere with him becoming president today. So
eager new recruits is 18-year-old Aiden Rollins, a recruit like I'm so proud of. Aiden's father was a sailor, his grandfather was a sailor, and after 4 years of Navy ROTC, it is Aiden's turn to carry on that tradition. When he enlisted in April, his father, Daniel, a Navy veteran, was so inspired that he decided to re-enlist too. Wow. I'm delighted to say that father and son are here with us today representing the future of this great fleet. Please, Aiden and your father, please stand up. Wow. Over those big, beautiful waves, through the spray of raging combat and the fog of naval war, America's sailors have proven time and again that our Navy does just the best job there is. Anything having to do with sailing the oceans, there's nobody to compete. We own the skies, we stalk the depths, and we rule the seas like nobody has ever ruled the seas. From Boston Harbor to Hampton Roads, from the Philippine Sea to the Red Sea, from the Guadalcanal to the vast, great Atlantic Ocean, our sailors have seized triumph upon triumph. We don't know anything about defeat. We heaped honor upon honor and carved greatness and splendor into the pages of history. We only talk about the Navy and only use that word, splendor. We also say victory because that's the other. We have splendor and we have victory on gun decks and flight decks, in torpedo rooms and cockpits. They have poured out their blood, sweat, and tears and offered their very lives to defend this land between the seas. They have crossed icy canals, leapt from burning wreckage, plunged into frigid water, soared into deadly skies, and slashed across the mine-infested bays to claim American victory and to defend the cause of liberty, to defend, quite frankly, the American flag. In every era and every part of this globe, our sailors have fought with courage in their hearts, patriotism in their souls, and salt water in their veins. You have that salt water? Don't let the doctors change it. Keep it. Because there's nothing like it. There's no blood like it. And standing before all of you today, I know that whatever our nation is threatened and whenever they need help, whenever duty calls, American sailors will hoist our flag high and they will rally to Admiral Farragut's immortal battle cry, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, go, son of a gun." With your help, we will fight, fight, fight. We will win, win, win. Because of you, our Navy and our country will always be proud and righteous and mighty and free. Congratulations once again on 250 years of total dominance. Sail fast, stay strong. Thank you. God bless our sailors and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I love this. Is it gonna do his dance? You know, I wait. Where are you guys? Where are you guys? Oh shoot, I lost you. Hold on. There you go. That was I don't wait. Why am I so close to you guys? Hold on. How do I? Whatever. Who cares at this point? I don't understand. So Donald Trump, we're entering. We're you know, today's the 5th day of the government shutdown. I need to. Trump isn't able to be president anymore. Well, Jelly. No, maybe not. Maybe not. I get so much pushback, you guys, for playing these kind of videos. So please hit the like. I appreciate you guys. We just need 5 Democrats to end the government shutdown. And I went to the hands-off protest against Donald Trump in Palm Springs and Rancho Mirage, California. We didn't see American flags. The people that were there as they were protesting had flags from their own countries. They were speaking about their own countries. And when I was speaking and interviewing, now I wore blue. I played nice, right? Because I didn't want to cause any problems. during the protest. And one of the guys that I was talking to told me not to be out there at night because there would be violence, right? And it looks like something I've never seen before during this protest. Let me find something for you. Give me a second. Thank you, politicians never lie. So wait, let me find something for you. Give me a second. Hopefully I can find it. If not, then I'm gonna have to just maybe not. If I can find it fast enough, because it's kind of okay. That's not it. So I really wait. Maybe this is it. No, that's not it. Hold on. We'll just go with this. I'm gonna show this for educational phrase purposes only. Again, I haven't seen this one,
It's
so I'm
been another tumultuous.
gonna react with you guys. Hang on, let me. All presidents are puppets to me. Fair, no cops. Are you deleting comments, Chunk? What I find interesting again is that when people don't get their way, I'm not deleting comments. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat. You are what you are. But I'm still gonna go and do what I have to do. So no, I'm not deleting you guys' comments at all. I'm gonna say this for educational phrase purposes only. Let's go. Hang on. Why didn't it share? Oh, there it is. Put it. Hopefully this is what I'm looking for.
Was weak in the nation's capital. Robert Costa has the latest on the budget impasse and implications of the government shutdown.
On this vote, the yeas are 55 and the nays are 45.
It says a lot about Washington that government shutdowns now seem a little too familiar.
The motion is not agreed to.
And this morning, the federal government is shuttered once again.
The motion upon reconsideration is agreed to.
The Senate voted down competing spending plans Friday.
Thank you all for being here.
Then lawmakers left town.
Doesn't seem like a lot of urgency, at least now, to get a deal done.
I mean, it's kind of stunning.
At Punchbowl News, a go-to for Washington insiders, Anna Palmer and Andrew Desiderio are keeping tabs on the politics and the consequences.
I think the longer this goes on, the more those effects will be felt.
Social Security and disability payments will continue, but many federal workers, including TSA agents and air traffic controllers, won't get paid until the shutdown ends.
It is on them 100%.
We're fighting for everyone.
Democrats insist any deal must extend health care subsidies.
They're expiring. And so a lot of folks are going to be getting notices from their insurance companies that their premiums are going to go up. This is going to be a big issue if it is not solved before the end of the year.
We have disagreements about healthcare policy, but you don't shut the government down.
Republicans say healthcare talks can wait and are pushing a short-term funding bill.
Does this look partisan?
Government shutdowns are nothing new.
We're not interested in reopening the government.
This shutdown is not speeding our talks. It is only casting the shadow over them.
What's different this time? President Trump is mocking congressional leaders.
He's not.
Flexing executive power.
We could cut projects that they wanted, favorite projects, and they'd be permanently cut.
As Trump digs in, Democrats so far are holding.
We are not going to let Republicans dodge this subject.
I actually think that this emboldens them in some way to say, look what they're doing, right? They can't be treated as operating in good faith.
They don't want to do this, the Republican leaders.
But for now, negotiations are at a standstill.
They want so bad to paint this as a Republican shutdown. The Democrats, you just think 5 Democrats, yes, we are, well, Republicans are not for giving billions of dollars to illegal people here.
Still, there isn't anything we can do to make this bill any better for them.
Washington's quiet.
It is very quiet.
And the team at Punchbowl News says Washington might stay quiet for a while.
How long could this shutdown really last?
Could last weeks, could last. Oh yeah, absolutely. Congressional Republicans, and they feel like they have the messaging upper hand, the political upper hand, and the moral upper hand. And the Democrats feel the exact same way. So for both parties right now, they're looking at the situation and saying, why would I blink? Why would I cave? I'm just going to continue with where we're at right now. And that's what makes me think that this shutdown could last a very long time.
Whew, mercy. So there you have it. There's that. How do I get out of here? There. Look at the lines. Is that what I'm looking for? Hold on, you guys. There's one more video. Maybe it's here.
The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, thank you so much for being here. This show is brand new. I am realizing that I have made a cardinal sin of broadcasting. I am not the most powerful Pete on my own show. No, you're not. A message back to their troops. The government
News channel.
Okay.
That wasn't the case before. Now it is.
They will fact check that.
Job. They're going to defend the nation. We're going to continue training. But eventually you stop paying people. You stop doing things. You stop training. You're less ready. You're less capable of being mission ready. You can't maintain everything. So yeah, I mean, we're dealing with a Chuck Schumer special right now. This is the vanity of one man who doesn't want to look weak to his base. And so he's trying to look tough and throw $1.5 trillion on top of what is otherwise a clean bill to fund the government to move along on a regular order.
So the last shutdown, December 2018 through January 2019, over the building of the wall. So always trying to protect the borders, always trying to put Americans first and our needs first. And well, here we are again. And Donald Trump gets so much pushback for what he's trying to do.
And so we're going to fight through it, but it's unfortunate that the Democrats are pushing politics into something when all we want to do is defend the nation, and we're going to keep doing it.
And your agency is as affected as any during a government shutdown. How hard is it to keep up this warrior ethos you talked about this week when the warriors don't know when their next paycheck is?
Yeah, pretty soon they're going to start looking at leaders, looking at Democrats, saying, how long are you going to hold out? Because pretty soon I won't have a paycheck. Pretty soon I can't use that paycheck to pay for the groceries for my family and live my life. You know, joining the military is not a lucrative business. The generals that were in that room with us aren't in this to get rich. They can make a lot more on the outside, just like the sergeants and the captains and the others who serve. It's not about the money, but at the end of the day, you got to pay the bills. And so when dumb games are played by Democrats on Capitol Hill, they don't have the power, they don't have the control. Chuck Schumer's doing this to protect his own base because he wants to keep his position. It's nonsense. End it, fund it, and let the troops get back to what they do best, which is defend the nation.
Something else the troops have been doing, the Department of War has been deploying National Guardsmen to dangerous downtowns throughout this country. If a young man or woman signs up today, are they more likely to deploy in their career to the Middle East or to the Midwest?
Well, I'll tell you this. The era of sort of reckless adventurism around the globe is over. We're introducing, President Trump is, clear missions, clear end states. I mean, even the renaming of the department from the Department of Defense to the Department of War is about clarity. We're not interested in endless, unclear missions. You go to war decisively with a clear mission to win it and then come home. So you're not going to see nation building abroad. In that sense, they're less likely. Also, President Trump's willing to stand alongside law enforcement and make sure they're safe in the conduct of their duties. So in that sense, they're more likely. But we're here to defend the hemisphere, defend the homeland, defend the border, deter China, make sure Europe shoulders more of the burden. So I don't know exactly where everybody will be, but I'll tell you, we're going to be laser focused on America first and peace through strength, and that's what President Trump delivers.
And so then based on your answer about no more foreign entanglements, endless entanglements, the way that you see it right now at the Department of War, the greater, which would be the greatest threat to the U.S. homeland? China, Russia, or Antifa?
Well, depends on where you are, right? I mean, ultimately, looks like Navy just scored.
They like that answer.
They like that answer a lot. I think they vote for defending the homeland. Ultimately, we're going to defend the homeland first. That's most important. And the invasion of our southern border, what Joe Biden unleashed, is a sin. It's a sin. And we're undoing it by locking down the border and supporting mass deportation. Not knowing who's in your country when they're not citizens is dangerous. You name it, whether it's Antifa, whether it's cartels, foreign terrorist organizations, whether it's Iranians, you name it, Islamists, you can't have them. So we're locking that down while at the same time ensuring we have the kind of power projection posture. That's why President Trump spent $1 trillion. We're going to spend even more so that we can project power. Our ship is capable of doing that. Our Air Force is capable of doing that so that our adversaries far away don't feel like they can move into our hemisphere and threaten us here. So there are a lot of threats. Defending the homeland is first and foremost, and we're going to be a part of all spectrums of that.
Some of us love our country, and no matter what, we're going to speak the truth. And I don't understand how anyone can really disagree. You do have to know who's entering the country. If I go to China, they want to know who I am when I enter.
You mentioned cartels and foreign terrorist organizations. Let's start there. The big news this weekend, a possible peace process progress in Gaza. If the Hamas peace talks go sideways, is there a universe where the Department of War would move in to assist Israel either by air or by sea?
No, President Trump's been clear. Israel's got this. If this falls apart and Hamas doesn't live up to its word, which it oftentimes, as we know, does not, then Israel can finish the job. Israel can go in there and make sure Hamas is obliterated. But President Trump creates opportunities where no other leader can. Moves the Overton window and creates an art of the possible for real.
Thank you so much for your memberships. Thank you guys for your donations. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, emails. I see you. Thank you.
I mean, if Hamas can live up to it, step up to the moment, then it looks like we're on the precipice of something really different in the Middle East, which creates a whole different set of possibilities. So we're proud to be a part of supporting and defending Israel, but when it comes to Hamas, they've got them.
You have said the strikes will continue against narco-terrorists. Every video of a cartel boat blowing up looks like it is a trailer for a Bad Boys movie sequel. But how is that legal?
Oh, we have every authorization needed. These are designated as foreign terrorist organizations. They're a threat to the homeland. They're a threat to the American people. They've been poisoning our people for far too long. And President Trump said no more. They're effectively designated just like Al-Qaeda, which if I saw Al-Qaeda in the conduct of doing something that was going to threaten and kill Americans, I had the right to do that in Iraq and Afghanistan. If you're in our hemisphere and you're in the Caribbean, if you're north of Venezuela and you want to traffic drugs to the United States, you are a legitimate target of the United States military. And in each one of these strikes, we know where they're coming from. We know who they work for. We know where they're going. We know what they're carrying. We know how many people are on that boat. And that's why these are legitimate, clean kills in pursuit of defending the homeland. And we hope it deters those foreign terrorist organizations from doing it, because the American people deserve to be defended.
And in reading the criticism from Capitol Hill the last couple of days about this, it reminds me of your time serving the country at Guantanamo Bay. You were surrounded by terrorists who waited for years for a trial because that's the way that the system was set up. So it seems like these folks on Capitol Hill are curious why those terrorists get trials and these narco-terrorists don't before a bomb falls on their boat.
Well, Peter, you know, there's a lot of terrorists in the Middle East and elsewhere who never got a trial. And thank goodness, because they're dead. Because we hunted them down, we found them, and we killed them. And just like we were focused on Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and we still are, we're making sure in various places around the world that they're never spending one night assured of their own survival. If you're in the drug trafficking business, if you're a foreign terrorist organization poisoning the American people in the maritime domain or anywhere, you could be under target from the United States. And we're going to make sure our people, our homeland, our citizens are defended. We have allowed people to be poisoned for far too long with impunity. That ends. And so we're willing to conduct the operations we are. And we think it's going to have a great deal of effect.
Okay.
For those keeping score at home, during the course of our interview, 2 touchdowns were scored behind us. Navy wound up winning 34-31, but We actually went into overtime with this huge department. Hundreds of thousands of people work there. The people in your part of the Pentagon, do you trust them? H.W. Bush off the coast of Norfolk, Virginia. President Trump is visiting Virginia today to say happy 250th birthday to the U.S. Navy.
That's a problem. So we're doing everything we can protocol-wise to make sure that those are minimized. And unfortunately, we live in an era where people do things like that. Journalists solicit things like that, which I think is disgusting. When journalists are saying, hey, send us classified information. That's why we have a policy at the Pentagon around what kind of conduct journalists will have in the building, too. We take these things very seriously, and leaks are a problem. We're going to try to address them. And would you start using polygraphs to stop the leaks? I think we'll use whatever tools we need, ultimately, especially with our own service members who can never be party to that, or our own civilians who can never be party to leaking. We're setting clear rules at the Pentagon. We're not playing games. We're not allowing everybody to roam around the building. You know, that was the policy before, Peter. If you were a Pentagon reporter, you could just walk around the building. No badge, no escort, no nothing. Walk into offices, talk to anybody. Who knows where there's classified information. We're making the rules more like you might say the White House. Can you roam the White House wherever you want? Typically not without getting a Secret Service guy up in my grill. So we're just normalizing it. Yes, you can be in the press area, briefing room, but if you want to move around the building, you're going to have a badge. It's going to be clear. You're going to be escorted when you do so. We have an expectation that you're not soliciting classified or sensitive information. I think the American people see things like that as absolute common sense. The Pentagon press corps can squeal all they want. We're taking these things seriously. They can report. They just need to make sure they're following rules. Do you trust you inherited a whole huge department? Hundreds of thousands of people work there. The people in your part of the Pentagon, do you trust them? Well, I think all those folks that we serve with, uniform and civilians, all raise their right hand to defend the Constitution. They swore an oath. We expect them to uphold that oath. So, of course, we trust them until they give us reason not to believe they're not upholding that constitutional oath. So there's a lot of trust that goes into, I'm not wearing the uniform I used to, but all these guys around us, all these guys on the field who wear that uniform, that comes with trust. Of course I trust them. I want them to execute to secure our nation until they give us a reason not to. But I tell you, yeah, I gave a speech about how we need to uphold standards and raise standards and do PT and all that. But that's because the vast majority of those who serve our nation are incredible men and women of integrity who will uphold that oath. And I'm proud to be able to speak for them. Last one. There is an account on X that forecasts or tries to forecast military action based on how busy the pizza places are around the Pentagon. Next time there's going to be an airstrike, have you guys thought about maybe just going to the cafeteria? I'm aware of that account. I haven't thought of just going to the cafeteria. I've thought of just ordering lots of pizza on random nights, just to throw everybody off. Some Friday night when you see a bunch of Domino's orders, it might just be me on an app throwing the whole system off so we keep everybody off balance. Trust me, we look at every indicator. There's a reason Midnight Hammer worked. Because we understood open source, we understood classified ways in which the public and others are trying to watch movements, and in sensitive ways we controlled for a lot of that in ways that only the U.S. government can do it. I mean, President Trump says this all the time. There's only one military that can do what we do, which is why it's such a solemn responsibility for me to make sure the leaders this military have are leaders they deserve, who uphold the same standards as a 4-star as they would at a private. And actually underreported about that Quantico speech wasn't just generals, it was also senior enlisted leaders, top NCOs, who are the ones that enforce standards. And in fact, a lot of their heads were nodding the most. They're like, yeah, thank you for letting us do our job to make sure our formations are what they should be. Because you remember Giuliani in New York, the broken windows theory of policing? If you don't police the small stuff, if you let the beards go and the bellies go and the uniforms go and the fitness standards go, pretty soon the big stuff goes. Because our whole military is premised on unit cohesion and unity of mission. That's why diversity is our strength. Such a dumb slogan. It's the dumbest slogan of all time. No, our strength is our unity. It's our clarity. It's the mission we share, love of country, and an understanding that we're in this uniform. I'm looking at folks right over there wearing this uniform. It's a point of pride. It's about doing something greater than yourself to serve the nation when you could do 1,000 other things. We're going to do right by that responsibility. Those men and women are not civilians. They're members of the military. They're in the profession of arms. They live by a code we don't expect civilians to live by. That code is back. And at every echelon.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. This country right now is so divided, you guys, that as much as I would like to think that people want what's best for the country, wanting people just to enter, wanting to have unsecured borders, and trying to fight the ICE agents as if they're the bad guy. We need ICE, right? I mean, there's certain people that are in place to ensure that our borders are protected. But when you have people treating them as if they're the enemy and they can't do their job, and you have to use force, it's just no one wants open borders. Some people want open borders. Politicians, I thought it was great for the stream I was gonna do today. Y'all like my shirt? Some people want, I can't say that no one wants open borders. Democrats want open borders. And if you guys haven't noticed, this is a very conservative, a very right-wing friendly place. I don't care if you are a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I just ask that you're respectful. But the conservative thinkers need a nice place to talk, because we get silenced a lot of places just for speaking the truth. Okay? So you can speak freely here as long as you're respectful. Now let me get off camera for a second. The left one's open. Okay, I'm gonna get out my chat. Okay, give me a second, you guys. Bring this all the way out. So layout. Actually. There's something that I am looking for. Can y'all still hear me? Okay, everybody good? All right. Hopefully I can find what I'm looking for. Here we go. I'm gonna show this for education and fair purposes only. Let's go.
As you mentioned, despite a federal judge temporarily blocking President Trump's deployment of the National Guard to Portland, troops are in other major cities protecting Americans from crime and from illegal aliens. DHS says over 1,000 dangerous illegals have been arrested in Chicago. Joey Jones is at the touchscreen to break down the federal fight against criminal illegal aliens. Take it away, Joey.
Yeah, guys. So a lot of what's happening right now is somebody saying, hey, why?
Kind of wanted to give you guys a layout of what is happening. You know, you have the protests, we have what's going on in Chicago and Portland, and wanted you guys to get a better vision of what's going on.
I can't Trump just send the National Guard into Portland to protect our federal agents that are there. I want to explain a little bit that to you, and you can go do your own research because I'm not a lawyer, but some of my friends are, and I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. So the chain of command is where we start here, right? And what you see is you see President Donald Trump, and you also see governors of the states, and they both start at the top, and they work their way down to the National Guard elements. President Trump operates off what's called Title 10, and a governor would operate off what's called Title 32. And so I'm going to explain a little bit of what that means. I'm going to go back a slide here. What's happening right now is we're discussing President Trump being able to send National Guard troops to places that are Democrat held, where the governor and mayor won't work with the president to bring in the National Guard. In that case, he's got to use Title 10. One of several provisions in Title 10 is the United States or any of the Commonwealth's or possessions is invaded or is in danger of invasion by foreign nations. So in the earlier segment, if you were tuned in at the beginning of the show, I said this whole idea of going to war against drug cartels is to build this case for attacking the ones that make it here in our country. And that's what that means. If you position this argument that we're being invaded by an organized crime ring or cartels or even other countries, now you've got Title 10 authority. Right now what's happening is, like in the case in Portland, judges are ruling against the current administration's argument for that. So if we move on and show you that's where we don't have National Guard troops yet because of that, I'm going to show you right here. This is the amount of illegals in the country in these areas, but I'm going to circle a couple of places for you. I'm going to circle D.C., and Tennessee. So those are the two places that the National Guard is either already mobilized or about to be. In DC, it's easy because DC doesn't have a governor. It's a federal district. The president has that authority under Title 32. Title 32 says a governor can enact the National Guard. And so in Tennessee, what's happening is the Governor Lee there, along with his attorney general, is crafting an argument or has crafted an argument saying we are going to mobilize the National Guard to support law enforcement. Now, the reason why this matters is there are several pieces of legislation, but two that are most important. The Insurrection Act and the Posse Comitatus Act. Those two regulate how even a governor or a president can use the National Guard, any military here at home for law enforcement purposes. It all goes back to the 10th Amendment that talks about, hey, if we don't give the federal government permission, it defaults to the states. And so what's happening in these two places is President Trump can more easily mobilize the National Guard simply because the governor in Tennessee is a Republican and is on board, so he's using his Title 32, and the president has Title 32 of his own in D.C. And so the reason why that matters is we're fighting over the litigious nature of using the National Guard here at home. And in the meantime, these cities, we see ICE agents under attack. We see, bad actors that are illegal immigrants here doing bad things. President Trump is just trying to use the tools he has to protect Americans. And we want to talk about why that's important. Here's some examples of who he's trying to protect Americans from. In Operation Midway Blitz, which is what's going on in Chicago, this is without the National Guard yet. You see some of the worst here, convicted of rape, statutory rape, charged with murder, rape, or sexual abuse. And we go on down the line here. These are the kind of people that DHS and President Trump says they need to get in there and get off the street. We keep moving forward here. We've got anti-ICE rioters facing federal charges in Chicago. So these are people that have attacked ICE. They're facing charges for physically attacking ICE. We move on from...
I'm going to ask you guys a question. Do they look like they love our country? Is that what the left is fighting for? I'm not about to attack the left, but do they look like they're for Americans?
There, and we talk about what's going on in Portland, where a judge has blocked the National Guard from coming in there. I think it was the mayor or the governor there saying, oh, there's nothing happening here. If you come here, you're just going to see peaceful people. There's no crime here. There's no violence. Here are three great examples caught on camera of people doing that. Federal charges for rioting against ICE, not protesting. And then I think that might be, we're back to square one. So the argument here is, yes, you do have to present legally how the President of the United States is going to use military troops here at home. He's got Title 10 at his disposal. When he has a governor that's willing to work with him, he's got Title 32. But there are challenges because we've passed laws in the creation of this country and even in our Constitution that say, hey, you can't just bring in troops against the United States people. What President Trump would say is it's not against the United States. It's not against citizens. It's against non-citizens who have invaded our country. There's where the legality is. But we just showed you it's a real problem, and it's going to claim lives.
Thanks so much, Joey. And I want to ask you, too, going off that point, I think you're the best possible person for us to ask, is we've got Democrats and these leaders of these blue cities and these blue states saying, well, President Trump is militarizing the troops against our own citizens. And that's the picture that they are attempting to paint. And so, Joey, as you get back from the touchscreen here, I guess you're the one with the best perspective on this. When you see the president using his power to protect federal agents and federal facilities, is that militarizing the troops against the American people? And would that qualify in your mind as someone who has fought wars on behalf of the American people?
It's easy to say things like that when you're uneducated and you don't take the time to learn how these troops are regulated, even when they're brought in. This very, very small scope of what they can do even when they get there. The number one thing they've done in D.C. is show of force, basically intimidating criminals. Because I was just there last week. You turn the corner and there's 4 or 5 National Guard troops there in battle rattle. I'm probably not going to steal a car. I'm just probably not going to do it. Even if they can't do much to me, I'm not going to do it in front of them. That's the best purpose they can provide. Secondly, they may have to have an active role in securing some of these places as protesters become rioters. If you are rioting and attacking a public building, you're an American citizen attacking American citizens. We want all the help we can get to keep us safe.
You'd think. Lisa, I want to ask you about that as well, kind of to Joey's point there. Just as an everyday American, when if I saw a National Guardsman If I see a police officer, if I see a federal agent, I automatically feel safer. I feel better. I feel like, hey, someone's going to have my back should I need them. Should I find myself in the midst of chaos? Should I find myself in the midst of one of these anarchy-filled riots? As a fellow woman on the panel here, I just have to ask you, because Democrats are trying to convince us that we should feel less safe.
No, I get exactly where you're coming from. And this morning I went for a walk and there was a parade that they were preparing for on Fifth Avenue. So there were NYPD everywhere preparing for today. And it made me smile over and over again because like I was really enjoying the walk in a totally different way. I want to add one thing though. The National Guard that has been held up from Oregon being activated because of this federal court order. Governor Gavin Newsom said the president is now sending 300 California National Guard to Portland. And he's calling it public. He says this isn't about public safety, it's about power. Governor Gavin Newsom.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't expect anything else from Governor Gavin Newsom.
Jason, I'm going to just watch the news with you guys. If you have a question, you can throw it at me. But I'm just here to spread awareness and give y'all some information. Is that okay?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews.
Let me find y'all. So there's a lot that's going on, you guys, and I'm praying for the country. I saw not the problem. Illegals are the problem, right, politicians? I will look at you guys' comments now, and I'm not going to believe what these morons on the news are saying. You don't have to. You don't have to believe it. I'm not here to force you guys to do anything at all that you don't want to do. South America is a major threat. Before I want to see if I can find something for you guys. I happened to be watching the news and I came across this clip. Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. But I don't want you guys to get timed out in my chat, so kind of chill addressing me in a crazy way, okay? Okay, let me see if I can find something. I probably can't because I have so many videos on my phone. But if I can't find it, I'm going to share it with you. I think I have it. All right, let me see. Thank you, Nathan. So this has been going on. So the Democrats want to pretend that they're not for giving illegal immigrants health care and spending trillions and billions and trillions of dollars on their health care. But this has been going on since let me just put this clip for you. Let me know if you can see it. Hold on.
If your government raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
All of them.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
And they're cheering. Y'all see that? And the ones that are cheering probably don't have health care themselves. Dealers will use any source to steal our money. $1 for any illegal service. Woke. Give me a second. May this person rest in peace. I've been playing a little bit about this young man who lost his life defending, speaking up for our country, trying to influence young voters. And I think it's very tragic. And I just want to remember that life that was lost. Okay.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year.
So I am so interested in what's going to happen with Tyler Robinson. I will be following that trial. Again, we have to be able to speak. We are, I stand by the First Amendment, and I'm going to continue to speak. I want to continue to speak my mind. I'm going to continue to pay attention to what's happening at the borders. And I think that, President Donald Trump is doing what he can to keep America safe. Oh yeah, that's what it is. So, do you guys have any questions or final thoughts for me before I get out of here? I do thank you guys for hanging out. And I know that these things are not easy to talk about, but I still think it's important to talk about them. Let me look at you guys' comments. I see it better this way. Guidelines. I was looking for something. Junk. Okay, you guys. I didn't just play Fox. I played other stuff. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'll see, or any objective misunderstood. Read the Georgia guide stones. I have questions for you. Okay. Claude, you playing. I will read them. Georgia Guidestone's questions. All right. I will. So, y'all looking for the right to say stupid but not accept facts. Anybody sainting Charlie shows the lack of logic you have, because no grown-up would think this man's valid. All right. The best president was Bill Clinton. Clinton? How was Bill Clinton the best president? It's not a stream for that, but I would definitely challenge that view. But you're entitled to your opinion. Okay? You guys are entitled to your opinion. I'm not here to, real quick, it explains the media, Georgia. Okay, what is it called? You want me to look it up real fast? Georgia Guidestones. Let me see if I can find it. Georgia. Guidestones. Am I looking at the right thing? This is, I don't know if a message for humanity. The Guidestones description offers guidance on topics such as population control. Oh, this isn't something I can just listen to in minutes. There's a video from 2019. Hold on. It explains the media. I see. Let me put Georgia Guidestones on the. Okay. I see. That's interesting. It's a set of 10 guidelines or principles that was engraved. Okay. Okay. I need to spend some time with that. All right. 10 commandments. I see it. Yeah. Read us the 10 laws. What? Read you the 10 laws? Okay. Let's see if I can have them. Let's see. Oh, it's here. Okay. I'll do that for you. Let me highlight that so y'all know what I'm reading. Wait. Did I highlight the right comment? Fine. Okay. Now, you guys, I'm not sure what this is because this is my first time looking at it. The 10 laws. Why am I doing this? Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature is number 1. Number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Okay. Unite humanity with a living new language. Real passion, faith, tradition. It's not conspiracy. Think about, okay. Real passion, faith, tradition in all things with a tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving eternal disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, and love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on this earth. Leave room for nature. That was beautiful. Yes, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I loved it. That's a lot to think about. Okay. I understand, circumcised honorary Jew. I understand, and I do appreciate you guys. Thank you again for the membership emails. I'm gonna run, you guys. I will think about it, circumcised. Thank you for hanging out with me. Feel free to like, comment, and share, and leave your comment under the video if there's something you want me to talk about. Clinton was a horrible president when you look at his policies. Wasn't Hillary? Yeah, aren't they the ones that called blacks super predators? Said that we weren't. Aren't they responsible for the mandatory minimums of 3 strikes and all of that kind of stuff, and laws that went against black people? You guys want to tell me? I really don't understand. I'm not about to get into why. I'm not here to tell you guys to vote Republican or Democrat, but I know why I vote Republican, and the lies from the. I know why I vote Republican. I would like to know more about why you guys vote the way that you do. Nevertheless, I'm just here to spread information. That's why I prefer just to play the news and talk to you guys and let you guys decide for yourself. What's happening at the borders is sad and not American. And I don't care who gets mad at me for saying that. That's what I'm going to say. We don't get to pick and choose who's, what was that? Your shirt is cool. I thought it was. We don't get to pick and choose who's protected by the First Amendment. Facts. Clinton destroyed our education. Woke didn't exist when Clinton was in power. Look at that. All right, you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I'm going to run, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Let me know if there's something that you guys want me to talk about. Other than that, I will continue to talk about the government shutdown, how it's affecting American jobs, how things are starting to slow down. There was a video I was going to show you guys, but let me see if I can find it real fast. I probably can't. Let me see. So anyways, what this video was, longer line at the airports. There were, did I do this with you? Oh, I'm gonna show this for educational purposes only. Educational purposes only, you guys. The impact that this is having. I don't think I showed this to you guys. It's late. Sorry, my brain is getting tired. Okay.
If this shutdown continues, as we
Here we go.
President Trump today joining thousands of sailors in Virginia
I
to
just showed it to you
celebrate the
guys like
Navy's
this, but I'm
250th
tired.
birthday, an event he says will go on despite the government shutdown now into its 5th day, even as Republicans slash funding to projects and
That's what you
threaten
guys just-
firings.
If this
Okay,
shutdown
good.
continues, as we've said, layoffs are an unfortunate consequence of that.
As they look to pressure Democrats to drop their demands and vote to reopen the government.
This affects us personally, and it affects the lives of all the people
Did I
who
show you
work
guys
here.
this?
Millions of Americans this morning feeling the pain, experiencing delays at airports, with TSA officers not getting paid, and air traffic controllers already in short supply, no longer being hired. Social Security checks will still go out, but be prepared to wait longer. Food benefits to moms and young children could dry up in days, and national parks and monuments are partially closed. Sources telling NBC News Republicans are largely unified behind House Speaker Mike Johnson's decision to keep his members home.
The House will come back into session and do its work as soon as Chuck Schumer allows us to reopen the government.
Members of his party backing him up on a private call Saturday, despite backlash from Democrats who say
the White House and Republicans have gone radio silent since the Oval Office meeting on Monday.
Democrats insisting Republicans alter their funding bill to include healthcare provisions, citing polls like this one that show Americans overwhelmingly support action to extend expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies.
That's not something that we can guarantee that there are the votes there to do. But what I've said is I'm open to having conversations with our Democrat colleagues about how to address that issue.
Even though leaders on both sides are dug in, bipartisan talks are quietly taking place.
Let's not further divide people politically. This is already stressful enough.
Now, Willie, senators are expected to return tomorrow evening, and the plan is to once again force votes to reopen the government. But here's the thing. Republicans need 5 Democrats to cross the aisle. Willie?
Julie Zirkin at the White House. Julie, thank you.
Hey, thanks for
Isn't that what I told you guys? You need 5 Democrats. Shutdown gets rid of massive fraud. Nothing, what did you say? Nothing. Give us back our land that they stole by claiming national parks. Okay. Government shutdown is actually a good thing. Well, all right, Joseph, I see you. Well, you guys, I love you back. You guys take care, and I'll see you guys later. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Bye-bye. And take care of yourselves. Be safe out there.